you'll be relieved to know that I'm not going to give a talk. Just going to say welcome. It's wonderful having you all here. Some of you have traveled from very far away, and that's very wonderful for us. Here we are, once again celebrating Buddha's birthday. 2,500 years ago, one person did something, and we're still celebrating that. It's very amazing. Actually, he didn't even do anything. That's what we're celebrating. Thank you all very much for coming.
Stand. We'll all recite together the threefold refuge. Homage
to all Buddhas who are present in their glory at this assembly. Homage to the Dharma, which is present in his glory at this assembly. Homage to all Sangha who are present in their glory at this assembly.
And now Sunim will do the threefold refuge in Korean. All together. All of us together. children will offer flowers to Buddha. Now we have 5 minutes meditation.
Well, glad to see so many people here, and it always thrills me to come. I just went up and looked at the monastery for the first time. It's a beautiful place. I'm not going to say much either. I was hoping Jonathan would say something and I wouldn't have to do this. He's not going to say anything either. Welcome all of you. I hope we enjoy Buddha's birthday together. Thank you.
Next farthest away, I think, is Kansas, Frank Norman. Oh, Thomas Saw, excuse me. Boy. Thomas Saw, Jane McLaughlin. Sorry.
Happy Buddha's birthday, everybody. And I'd like to congratulate all the people who just finished their, first the monks, Kilche, he's been out for a little while so far, and all the people who just finished their 90-day retreats or whatever segment of Kilche they did. That's really wonderful. Congratulations. And also, I'd like to congratulate Jacob and Richard over here. I haven't seen them since they wore their orange robes. I was trying to think of what to say today, and I have this son, kind of. His name is Hide Meets, and he's from Japan. He's 13, and he lives in Tomasan now with us. He's the first kid that we've ever had in the Zen Center. And we recently moved to a new house, and he loves to play basketball, but we didn't put the basketball net up yet. So one day, I looked out the window, because I always look out there and see what he's up to, and he was playing basketball, and he was taking shots at nothing. There was no net, but that didn't stop him. He would, dribble the ball around, and then he'd just pretend there was a net there, and he'd shoot up at this fictitious basketball net, and it didn't stop him from playing. He just kept playing. And that really impressed me, and it reminded me of something that Buddha's birthday is really about. People have different names for it, but we call it no hindrance. And Suzuki Roshi said this thing one time. He said, when the restrictions we have do not limit us, that is what we mean by true practice. And Sunim says it the same way. He just says, more succinctly, he just says, don't check. And I thought of that when Hidemitsu was playing with his basketball, and also when Buddha was born, he was this famous rich king, and he had this palace and his whole life, but he left it behind him. He went off to practice himself, and he didn't let anything limit him or stop him from finding his true self. And he just had 2 legs and 2 arms, and he could only just walk so fast and do so many things, but he tried and he practiced, and that's what we can do if we can be like like hitting meets with our basketball and not worry about whether we have a net there or not, just keep playing. So I'd like to just say happy Buddha's birthday to everybody, and it's nice to see everybody and to be back here again. Thank you.
I finally got my geography straight. The next will be Seattle, 20G7.
Hello, everybody. I don't have that much to say. I just came out of Dolce yesterday. And haven't quite gotten my feet on the ground downstairs. It's really wonderful to be able to celebrate Buddha's birthday with everyone here. This is quite a different place from Seattle, where our dorm room is about this big. It's really wonderful to be here. Thank you all. Happy Buddha's Day.
Now we'll have Frank Norman from Kansas.
Well, it's real nice to be up here and have an opportunity to get to talk. It's really wonderful to see everybody here. I really had a hard time figuring out what to say. I'm still not quite sure what to say. I remember the last time I was up here, I gave a talk on Sunim's birthday, and I made a few jokes and poked a little fun at Sunim, so I thought I'd do the same. I was wondering, if anybody's ever seen the movie Karate Kid. I thought that was a real good movie. There was some zen in the movie, and there was some violence in the movie, and there was some love in the movie. That's what more can you ask for? I immediately thought of some sex, but after that movie, I kept thinking of a Dharma talk I could give, and I kept thinking of Sunim, as a movie star. You could, with your smile and with your head of hair, you'd be Yul Brynner and Tully Savalas hands down. And you could teach a lot of people, reach a lot of people with movies. And not just that, you could become very famous and very rich. And with that money, you could help struggling Zen centers like the Kansas Zen Center. The Kansas Zen Center, as you all know, is in the center of America. And if you make Kansas very strong, you make America very strong. With a very strong center, you can help the whole world. I thought maybe you could sit on that. And maybe become rich and famous. But all kidding aside, I want to thank everybody for following Buddha in his path, and by chanting very hard, and bowing very hard, and sitting very hard, and practicing very hard, and trying to be in the moment to moment. Thank you.
Kessel from New York.
Hi, happy Buddha's birthday. When you think about why you celebrate a birthday, some interesting thoughts come to mind. What's a birthday? A birthday kind of is a time when you're always the winner, like you get everything. And so it's good to celebrate that and to feel that you get everything. And Buddhism teaches that you already have everything. So a birthday is a time to remember that. And of course, Buddha and you, are they the same or different? So this is a time to remind us that we all have everything. So it's good to ask questions like that. Questions are very important. Questions like, when am I going to see him talk? What do I do with the paper in front of the map when I'm standing and sitting? Questions kind of keep us alive. So it's important to ask them. But Buddha, sitting for a long time was about asking a great question. So I asked myself, well, what's so great about a great question? What's wonderful about it? And it bothered me. So I figured having a great question made me suffer. And what's so good about suffering? What's wonderful about it? How does it help you? Well, thought about that a little more. I was bowing this morning, and Micah, my son, decided it was time to get up and make some noise. So I stopped and said, "What do you want?" He says, he's sleeping, but he's talking. "Sing me a song." I said, "Okay." Mahabanya. No. Don't alright. I said, "What?" He said, "Don't alright." "What do you mean? More suffering." "Don't alright." And we figured, "Don't alright." Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's light? I sang the Star Spangled Banner for him, and it put him back to sleep. So suffering was very interesting because it brought us together. Okay, if I wasn't sensitive to his suffering, it wouldn't have brought us together. So his suffering made me chant. And then I started to think about those rock people who made that big song, the Children of the World song or whatever. What made them do it was suffering also. Somebody else's suffering, and it brought a lot of rock stars together. And then it brought a lot of people together to buy that album. So they were sensitive to suffering. So maybe there's something good about suffering. So having a great question makes you suffer. And if you suffer, you can't lose, apparently, because it makes you come together. And it helps us. There's a story about a Zen master who's walking down the road with a couple of other Zen masters. And he takes a stick and he draws a circle around himself. And he says, "I'm not moving until you say something," basically. And nobody can think of anything to say. And so he turns around and goes home. And I think a lot of us do that with our lives. We're walking along and we draw a circle around ourselves and say, "This is me, and I'm not moving unless somebody says something significant." And we don't break out of that circle unless we make ourselves suffer somehow and have a large question. So Buddha's birthday is about our own suffering and how it can bring us together. It brought us together here. It brought me together with my son. It brought the world together over some sensitivity to other people's suffering. So I hope over the next year we realize birthday and we realize suffering and attain it and bring ourselves together. Thank you.
Now we have Sonia from Cambridge.
the same time as being related somewhat to someone who's Rasputin, who just simply wouldn't go. Whereas the hospital staff kept saying that lady is back again. So I feel quite clear in saying right now, I'm very happy that Buddha is here, I'm very happy that I'm here, and I'm very happy that you're all here.
Cassidy from New Haven.
Hello to everybody from New Haven, other struggling Zen Center. It's really intense up here. Today, we're here to celebrate Buddha's birthday. Birthday isn't really the day, it's a few days off, maybe. We don't really know. Tibetans celebrate it with a different day. But we've chosen to take today to celebrate Buddha's birthday. And since everything is Buddha nature, that means we can celebrate everything's birthday. So we can celebrate mountain's birthday today, sky birthday, bird birthday. There's a Western thinker who had a great question himself. His name was Martin Heidegger. And for a long time, he thought about this question. He had a question about why is there something rather than nothing? And he kept this question with him for a very long period of time. And after many years thinking about this, he realized there wasn't any answer to it. And it was only much later on in his life that he was introduced to Zen teaching. He said that these people have been saying for centuries what I've been trying to say all my life. But earlier on, when he was working on this question, he came to a realization of his own. And he expressed it in a very, he expressed it with a metaphor. He said that all being was like a dense forest. Whole thing, very dense, so you're walking through the forest, you kind of have to squeeze between the trees and so forth. And he said that he had a technical term for it, but it meant sentient beings. He said sentient being is like a clearing in the forest. So you come out and there's an open spot in there, and then all of a sudden the trees were there before, you couldn't see them. Now you can see the trees, you can see the birds, see the sky. And, everything, he said, that's a place where being can manifest itself. So a birthday of some sort of sentient being, I guess, would be something like an opening in the forest, a clearing, a clear space, where things can present themselves. So Martin Heidegger said that being was like a big forest, and sentient beings were like a clearing in it. And Shakyamuni Buddha one day held up a flower. Which one was more complete? It's a beautiful day out. Happy Buddha's birthday.
we'll have Ellen Sidor from Providence Zen Center.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Providence Zen Center again, 1 year later. Buddha said, if you want to understand your past life, look at what you are getting now. Also, if you want to understand the future, look at what you are thinking now. So, 2,500 years ago, somebody planted a seed and we got Buddha. 50 or 60 years ago, somebody planted a cedar. And last week, Mr. Kim carved this beautiful Zen stick for Sunim. 14 years ago, Sunim came to this country and planted another seed. And here we are all today. So, what did you plant today? Happy Buddha's birthday.
Mary Carty will greet us from our most close Zen center of the last 3 months, Kilchin.
Today is Buddha's birthday. I feel like today is my birthday too. It's just really nice to take yourself out of commission sometimes, and and then come back again and see all the people who I've been living with, and everybody looks really fresh and new. It's like, you get really jaded on your usual experiences and routines, but take yourself out a little bit and you can just see different people and really just dig who they are. I wanted to, since I have this opportunity with people, everybody sitting here, I wanted to thank everybody for Sunim particularly, and Deung, and everybody for making Kilche at all. When I lived at the New Haven Zen Center when this property was being bought, and somebody said the Zen Center is moving from Hope Street to Cumberland because Sunim wants a big place in the country where we can do people can come and do 3-month retreats. And I said, he's crazy. This is the United States. Nobody's going to, quit their job and, go sit for 3 months. But it's, every day I thought how incredible it was that other people were, taking care of business, making sure the fires got started, 3 times a day sending food upstairs, taking our notes and going out to CVS and getting whatever we thought was important for us to get, just coming upstairs, and giving interviews, giving Dharma talks. It just blew my mind day after day that I was able to sit for 3 months and practice for 3 months and have other people take care of business. It's just incredible. I can't imagine any place else where you can go and be a lay person and for some period of time just devote your day and your night to practicing while other people, make sure the show goes on. So it's just incredible. I hope that other people get to do, have the courage to put aside their business. It's really hard to think that you're expendable at all. That was my problem, you know. And just, you know, do a long retreat, and, you know, all of you contributed to making it possible for other people, so it's really a far-out thing to do. So, happy Heijing, everybody.
Sunim from the Diamond Hill Zen Monastery.
This is one of those 30-second notices. We celebrate Buddha's birthday every year, and we just take it for granted. We talk about Buddha and we take it for granted that Buddha just left his home and he spent 6 years. Sometimes I think of what kind of agony and what kind of torture he must have gone through when he left his home. He had a wife, he had a child, and all these attachments. And it was not an overnight decision. I'm sure he thought about it for a long time. And it took a lot of courage, a lot of conviction, and a lot of commitment to certain vision or certain ideal that caused him to leave home. And Buddha's struggle was not very different from the struggle of each one of us. So it's a very human example, at least for me. And I always feel very connected by what Buddha did in his life. And his struggle was not something mythological, something that just came out of nowhere. It was a struggle that he lived with all the time, and that nurtured him, that made him grow. And the same process is applicable to all of us. And all of us who practice and live in our different ways, we struggle with the same situation. So, but Buddha's birthday is a time to remind ourselves that it is possible for all of us to go and make ourselves commit to something, whatever it is. And if we have that kind of commitment to some vision or some great question that Buddha had, then all we have to do is to try. Thank you very much.
Samu, who is the abbot of the Zen Lotus Society in Toronto, with an affiliate also in Ann Arbor, who's been traveling around the world a lot doing teaching. And it's just wonderful to have him and the two people that came with him, with us this last few days. It's wonderful when people come together from different groups. So we're really privileged that we can now hear his Dharma speech.
This afternoon we have been getting a variety of Dharma teachings. And yeah, this one too. 일하시나니라 The world-honored one, without coming down from Tushita heaven, has entered the palace of Kabilava's Jew. The world-honored one, without leaving the mother's womb, has emancipated all beings. This is the case of traveling 10,000 miles without taking a single step. 3,000 years ago, Lady Maya was pregnant. As the month drew close, as was the custom in ancient India, she set out on a journey to visit her maiden home to deliver the baby. When she reached Lumbini Garden, which was located halfway between Kabilava's Jew and her maiden tribal nation, Korea's, she was so enchanted with the spring blossoms. So she stopped to take a break, to take a rest, and entered the Lumbini Garden and raised her hand to pluck a flowering branch. As she stood there, holding the branch, the birth took place. Siddhartha Gautama and Shakyamuni Buddha was born. On that occasion, Udumbara flower bloomed. Now, Udumbara flower, this is the kind of flower which bloom every 1,000 years, every 3,000 years or so. Or the other way around, every time Buddha or Tathagata appears into this world, then this flower blooms. So it's a rare occasion. And the 10 great disciples, Sariputra, Subhuti, Ananda, they were all there. 16 arahats, 500 arahats, bodhisattvas, and a host of great things and less things. All in all, 1,200 assembly was all there. Today, we are celebrating Flower Festival. It is so called because Buddhism is flower. The teachings of Buddhism are flowers. So when the teachings are expounded, also Udumbara flowers bloom. Now, what kind of flower are you talking about? Shakyamuni Buddha. Not only did he renounce his family and the world, renunciation, after his enlightenment, he drew all the able, talented young people from the Shaka tribe. But he was a prince himself. So, by so doing, he had his country, he had his nation destroyed. So the result is Buddhism. So this flower, which is Buddhism, has such a radical nature with it. Now today in North America, we see Cambodians, we see Vietnamese, we see Laotians, we see lots of other Asians fled from their country, Tibetans. To some extent, by coming to North America, they had their own country destroyed. Now, today, we Buddhists finding ourselves in North America. Could we grow flowers that could transform this country, that could transform North America, and that could transform the world, so that we could work out the nuclear threat, environmental pollution, or overpopulation.
Now we'll have Master Dharma teacher Deung Sunims, Dharma speech.
Gucci Zen Master, what is Buddha? He stuck up one finger. Someone asked Lynch Zen Master, what is Buddha? Only gods. Someone asked Deung Zen Master, what is Buddha? Is there right and wrong in this? Someone asked Deung Zen Master, what is Buddha? He said, 3 pounds of flax. Someone asked Mun Zen Master, what is Buddha? Dry stick. Is there right and wrong in this? Two kinds. First, Gucci Zen Master's one finger, Lynch's cuts, Deung's hit. Next, Deung's 3 pounds of flax, Mun's dry shit on stick. Which one is correct? Someone asks, what is Buddhism? What is Buddha? Which kind of answer can you give? Which one is correct? If you find correct, the stick will hit you. If you don't find correct, the stick will hit you. What can you do? Today is Buddha's birthday. Today is Buddha's birthday. That is very wonderful. Many, many people came here. That's a very happy, happy time. But that's a mistake. The whole universe is a mistake. What can we do? When people are born in this world, human beings came into this world, something often said, that's already a mistake. That's the first error. Next, people live in this world. People live in, first born in this world, mistake. Live in this world, you break all the precepts. Then die. That's a very big mistake. Why? You cannot keep your vow. How do you save all beings? We said in the human route, coming empty-handed, going empty-handed. Coming into this world empty-handed, going out of this world empty-handed, what is your responsibility? Brought nothing into this world, going out of this world with nothing. What can you do in this life? That's very interesting. Have nothing. What can you do? Whole world is a mistake. You're a mistake, I'm a mistake. Some Zen masters never smile on you. That's a big mistake. Where is Zen master already attained enlightenment, not Buddha nature, then only this face. Where is the mistake? So today's Buddha's birthday. Buddha was born, Buddha died. Linc said before, something in this world. Then he said something like, maybe in fact he didn't do anything. That's a big problem. Then why are we born in this world? What will we do with our life? What will we do with this big mistake that we find ourselves thrust into without choice? Make it correct. How do you do that? How do you make this life correct? Zen teaching said, only throw away my opinion, my condition, my situation. Then attain correct life, correct way, correct direction. But for whom? Throw away my life, throw away my life for whom? We say only for all beings. We say, don't make I, my, me. That's the mistake we say that. Don't make I, my, me. Only for all beings. We said, if you keep that line, that's... But, if you say, my life for all beings, that's a bigger mistake. Why? Namchan Zen Master understood that. Namchan Zen Master understood that. So, the monks of the Eastern and Western halls were arguing about a cat. Then holding up the cat, he said, if you give me one word, I will save this cat. If you cannot, I will kill it. Finally, nobody could answer, so Namchan Zen Master killed the cat. Is that good action? You were there. How will you save the cat? Lots of us understand how to save the cat. Lots of us understand how to save the cat. Lots of us understand correct action, have correct view, but cannot completely complete the function. Which means, how much can you do it? I understand New York is this way, but I understand also if I get in a car and go there, then I can, or train, or plane. But can I get there? So, famous Joju Zen Master said, understanding is illusion. Not understanding is blankness. When one understood, so he said, when somebody asked him, what is Buddha? Dry shed on stick. But what did he understand? Joju said, understanding is illusion. Not understanding is blankness. But when one said, dry shut on stick, what did he attain? Maybe when one Zen Master understood, so he said, at Buddha's birthday, if at the time Buddha was born I had been there, I would have struck him with a stick. Fed his flesh to a hungry dog, and saved all beings from suffering. That's correct view. That's correct view. Can you do that? If you want to become Buddha, if you want to become a Zen Master, you must eat the flesh of a hungry dog. Can you do that? if you do that, then God enlightenment. The whole universe is yours. Do you understand that? If you can eat the flesh of a hungry dog, become infinite in time and space. God enlightenment, what kind? Full stomach enlightenment. I'm full. So, getting enlightenment is very easy. How do you keep enlightenment? Then this hungry dog only followed Woman's Zen master around. I want more. I want more. I want to eat more Buddha's flesh. But Unmun already killed Buddha, fed Buddha to hungry dog, got rid of all the evidence. What kind of evidence did he get rid of? No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, and saved all beings. But saved all beings has no goal. Today is Buddha's birthday. Someone asked Unmun Zen Master, what is Buddha? He said, dry shit. If you keep don't know mind 100%, we already understand this. If you keep don't know mind 100%, only go straight, don't know. Then this don't know mind stopped all thinking. Stopped all thinking is no thinking. No thinking is empty mind. Empty mind is before thinking. If you attain this point, then don't know. Killed God, killed Buddha, killed the dominant teacher, killed Unmun Zen Master, killed don't know. Then what can you do? Today we are gathered here, many people celebrating Buddha's birthday. That's a big mistake. I am standing here giving a talk. That's a big mistake. You are sitting there. That's a big mistake. If you find your mistake, become universe. Whole universe. Somebody said whole universe is a single flower. Whole universe is distinct. What can you do? How can you find your mistake? If you find your mistake, the stick will hit you. If you cannot find your mistake, you cannot do anything in this life, cannot fulfill your responsibility. Can you find that? Outside, spring wind blows strong. Inside, golden Buddha altar is half of the cake.
Now we have a surprise.
Already program appears in NASA prep. But we are different state. So make it correct. How make it correct? Today is Buddha's birthday. I before I leave home, can come here. You make it correct. Today is Buddha's birthday.
Everybody already understands.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. has no waves. Very dark midnight, but brighter than sun. Smaller than atomic particle, bigger than whole universe.
What does this mean? Strong wind blowing, but ocean has no waves. That means what kind of wind? We have many kinds of wind. Emotional wind, intellectual wind, and anger wind, desire wind. That name is karma wind. Karma wind all the time blowing. But if you're holding the no mind, not moving, then connect to Buddha. The next, very dark, but like the sun. When you close your eyes, then there has no sun, there's no daytime, there's no nighttime. Blind man. That is in your mind. Very bright. Very bright. So, everybody has very bright things inside head. And find that very important. Next, small than the atomic particle. That if you that things, if you become small, number becomes small. Particles is number small. Scientists say the particle make atom make everything. This is particle, number small, smaller than that. What is that? If you big, then cover the universe. Everybody have that. Today is Buddha's birthday. So everybody, Buddha gives to you all the time, but you cannot hear alarm clock. So if you hear the alarm clock, then no problem. Long time ago, Buddha and Christ together business. So many business. So Buddha all gives money Christ because Buddha born in Cumberland, Paris, so much have money. Christ has no money. Only this, 4 people, so has money. Yeah, give me some money. Why not? Okay, I give you money. So together business. Then bankrupt. Slow business, all lose money. Then Buddha says, my money, this time money, give it to me. Buddha all the time, this time money, give it to me. It's Buddha told me. Hand this, give it to me my money all the time. Like question, nothing. All the time, nothing.
If you put it all down, it's always in front of you. Cannot find address, cannot find name. Does not appear, does not disappear. Open your hand. Do you see? Follow situation, become anything.
Yeah, that's a very important point. If you want that, more far away is people. If you put it all down, away in front of you, very clearly, away in front of you, that's the point. So very easy, not difficult. Only put it all down. Cannot find the address. Where is it? Still, no address, also no name. Do not decide, do not decide. Open your hand. Look at your hand. Yeah. Find it. Follow stitch of become anything. That thing follows stitch of mountain, become mountain, stars, time that you also become everything. That's point.
So, heaven above heaven, below heaven, only I am holy. Is that correct? Why did Unmun use his stick and kill the Buddha? Unmun also made a big mistake. Cut Unmun's tongue, then everything is clear. Blue mountain is high, wide ocean is deep.
So Buddha says, above heaven, below heaven, I am holy. That means that point. But that's only explanation. There is explanation number one direction. So that when I had been declined that time, I hit the Buddha, killed the Buddha, to home to draw. That meaning is that heaven, above heaven, below heaven, I am holy means there's a number of prayers. But the only use tongue. Only use tongue. So that's a mistake. So only use the tongue mistake. So cut the tongue necessary. Yeah. Then cut the tongue, then everything's clear. Everything's clear. Blue Mountain is high. Okay. High Blue Mountain, wide deep ocean. Yeah. You're correct. Sky blue, tree green, dog barking, ocean guys, everything clear. Only Buddha, open the tongue, want to kill the Buddha, so have problem. Kill, not kill, doesn't matter. What is Buddha? Before we say, do not appear, do not disappear. No name, no address, no form, which means there's no life, no death. How Unmun Buddha killed the Buddha? Not possible. So cut the tongue, very important. So everything is clear now.
But that is a bigger mistake. So hit myself 30 times. How do you make correct? Cut! Happy Buddha's birthday to you, April 6, 1985.
So they are mistake talking, or many mistake talking. So I say that was a big mistake, Blue Mountain, wide deep ocean, that's also big mistake. Sky blue, trees green. It's okay. Today is Buddha's birthday. What is today, just now, this moment, correct the situation? We talk about like this, just like two kinds. Like this means everything's true. Everything's true. Bible, children, talking about you guys, everything's true. Just like this means how correct function truth. How correct function truth. That means correct life. Correct life means correct just now situation. So that's the big mistake. I say everything is clear. Blue Mountain is high, wide ocean is deep. That's a big mistake. So hit myself 3 times. Very important. Then how do we make correct? Happy Buddha's birthday to you. April 6, 1985. That's all. Moment. Just do it. Thank you.
Now, although it's been left out of the program, we will chant the Heart Sutra in English and then the Great Dharma.
부처님 오신 날
the Buddha was born.
매우 의미 있는 날로 생각됩니다.
He thinks that today is very important day.
부처님이 이 세상에 오신 뜻은
The reason he came to this world,
여러 가지 의미가 있겠지만은
there may be many different reasons,
그러나 그 가운데 가장 의미 있는 뜻은
but one of the most important reasons is
마음밖에 법이 없다고 하는 의미를 말씀하기 위하여 오신 것입니다. 마음밖에 법이 없느니라고 하는 이 말씀 한마디 하시기 위해서 오셨습니다.
the Buddha came to tell you that there are in mind.
Dharma is without mind. Without mind. Dharma is
Dharma is without mind.
보시다시피 바로 부처님 왼편에 심의 무법이니라 마음밖에 법이 없느니라 바로 저 의미가 지금 이 한 부처님이 저 말씀 하나 하기 위해서 오신 것입니다.
As you see on your left side, Buddha came to this world to tell you that Dharma is without mind. And it is from there.
Dharma is there is no Dharma outside mind.
outside mind.
There is no Dharma outside.
봄이 올 때는 꽃이 피고 꽃이 필 때는 향기가 가득합니다.
When the spring comes, the flower blooms. And when flower blooms,
만약에
the flowers are coming.
만약에 봄이 와서 꽃이 피지 않냐고 꽃이 피기는 피었는데 향기가 없다면 그거는 거짓 봄이거나 그냥 만든 가짜 만든 꽃일 것입니다.
When spring comes and the flower doesn't bloom and there's no smell, that must mean that the flower is either artificial or it doesn't have any meaning.
마찬가지로 사람이 말을 할 때는 그 말 속에 사랑과 진실이 있어야 할 것입니다.
So when a person talk in their speech, there must be some meaning to it.
사람이 말을 할 때 진실과 사랑과 정성이 없는 말을 했을 때는 이 사람은 사람 탈을 쓴 사람의 그냥 사람일 것이며 사람이 아닐 것이며 아니면 만든 사람일 것입니다.
When a person talk and it doesn't have any meaning or love or diligence, that means the person must be artificial too.
바로 마음밖에 법이 없다고 하는 것은 저 마음에 무엇입니까? 마음밖에 법이 없다고 하는 그 참뜻은 바로 무엇이겠습니까?
What would be the meaning? There is no Dharma outside mind.
미안합니다. 내가 영어를 잘 못해가지고 이분을 괴롭히고 또 다른 스님 10년을 기르고 그러나 여러분은 여러분에게는 웃게끔 만들었으니까 피로회복제가 아니겠습니까?
He's saying he's sorry that I couldn't speak so well and I have to come over here and he also has to help him. But he thinks it made you laugh, so.
오늘 못한 말은 다음 기회에 해드리기로 하고 참으로 오늘 부처님 오신 날 행사로서는 제가 한국, 일본, 중국 여러 나라 돌아다니면서 부처님 행사를 많이 참관했습니다만 숭산 큰 스님께서 이 미국에 장한 이런 큰 공법원을 세우셔가지고 부처님의 오신 그 참뜻을 우리에게 진실이 일깨워주기 위한 모든 그 프로그램을 볼 때 불을 켜서 그다음 여러 가지 행사도 있습니다만 실제 지금까지 부처님 행사에 본분다운 본분의 행사가 없었던 점 오늘 이 자리에 와서 새롭게 느꼈습니다. 앞으로 이 스님이 주재하는 부처님 오신 날 행사는 오늘 승산스님이 진행한 이 방법을 참고하여 좀 더 뜻있는 부처님 오신 날 행사를 할 것을 마음속에 새긴 점 많습니다.
He went around all the places for the ceremonies, but at this place he found out that Sunim was really doing the right thing, and he believes that in the future, referring to his ceremony, he believes that a lot of things can be accomplished.
특히 홍법은 다시 한번 마음속에 느껴오는 바는 방금 전에 행사가 진행되기 전에 저 간원 선방을 가봤습니다. 여기는 그야말로 독신 수도승을 위한 특별 선언이 마련되고 또는 이곳에는 앞으로 호교를 전담할 교화성이 생활할 수 있는 제도, 우리 한국 대한불교 조계종 현재 사항은 독신 수행성의 위주로 하고 있기 때문에 교화성에 대한 모든 제도적 뒷받침이 결여되었는데 미국에서는 수도성과 교화성이 분명히 제도적으로 잘 돼가지고 되고 있기 때문에 미국 불교는 어느 나라 불교보다도 앞으로 앞설 수 있는 출발점으로 볼 때 매우 의의 있는 날이기도 합니다.
He went to this monastery at the single monk place, and here is Bodhisattva monk place. So in Korea, only a single monk control this all Buddhism. So this is only one way, but here two way, Bodhisattva monk and the single monk two way. So this American Buddhism better than Korean Buddhism.
Next time, only English speak. Thank you very much.
나가서 할 때는 내가 간단히 치료해줄게. 다 한마디나 해. 아까 우리가 영어 학교.
We'll have another congratulatory speech.
I think it would be fun if we just did short talk, short speech in Korean because the other talks were not translated into Korean, so it's I think it's okay.
How are you? 불타의 축사, 불타의 대자들이 하신 방문은 이영만리 프로비덴스 수행동산 공법원에 밝았습니다. 사부대중 여러분 안녕하십니까? 여러분 나의 주인공은 옛부터 닦지 아니하여도 해와 달처럼 우주를 두루 비추옵니다. 사부대중 여러분이 정성어린 발언으로 숭상 큰 스님 모시어 법문을 듣고 그
금생업을 소멸하고 내세 모두 성불할 것입니다. 나의 우리는 무량한 세월에 본래부터 시공을 초월하였기 때문에 우리는 성불한다는 것을 의심할 필요가 없는 것입니다. 불기 2529년 6년 4월 8일 부처님 오신 날을 맞아 우리는 거룩한 불타의 인연을 되살려 온 인류의 평등한 자비심을 심어 진정한 세계 평화를 촉구하고 부처님 은혜가 온 우리에 닿아도 나이 우리를 찾을 때까지 우리 모두가 정진하여야 할 것입니다. 여러분, 주인공이 나이 우리의 번뇌가 조금이라도 남아있다면 숭산 행원 대선종사 큰 스님께서 한마디 법의 말씀에 번뇌가 다 녹아 없어질 것입니다. 여러분, 근거에 없는 마음에 연꽃이 피고 지는 것을 알아야겠습니다. 숭산 큰 스님이 처음 한마디 말씀에 유전, 무전들도 모두 본 마음 찾아 모두 성불을 이루옵니다. 여러분, 번뇌의 도적을 쳐부수는 선빵은 지혜의 칼을 가는 땅은 지혜의 칼을 가는 수양을 닦는 상설기구이며 인간 정신 수양 근본 마음 찾는 기본이 모체인 수양 도량입니다. 여러분, 선빵을 보십시오. 모두 다 수도를 하는 도량으로서 자연이 조성된 수도 도량이 아닙니까? 우리는 살고 있는 환경도 중요한 것이라는 것은 누구나 잘 아는 사실입니다. 이곳은 본래 부처님 도량으로 마련된 것입니다. 우리는 큰 스님의 뜻을 받들어 내가 살고 있는 가까운 곳에 절도 물론 첫째 가람수호를 잘 해 나가야겠지만 특히 이곳 수행동산 홍법원 관음선언은 그냥 지나서는 안 되겠습니다. 한국 불교의 모체인 홍법원은 여러분 참마음 찾는 주인공 나의 우리를 발견하여 자아완성을 목적으로 하는 선빵은 곧 여러분의 정신적 지주를 바로 수양하는 도량이며 우리의 번뇌하는 번뇌의 도적을 없애주는 영원한 자비의 도량인 인간연구의 발판인 것입니다. 오늘 이 기쁜 날 여러분은 묶었던 마음을 선선히 풀어놓고 소원대로 시주하시고 소원대로 성원을 다하십시오. 홍법원 관음사는 무궁한 발전을 빌며 축사에 떼어보자 하는 말입니다. 1200. Thank you very much.
He talked about if you visit a good place, also coming here Korean Buddhism, that you must learn Korean correct Buddhism, actual person, get enlightenment, also save all being, become world peace and save all being. So we use as an
Now we'll have another congratulatory speech.
Peace. Peace.
Okay, we'll stand, please. Do the 4 great vows in English.
Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Passions are endless. We vow to extinguish them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha is inconceivable. We vow to attain it.
And now Sunim will do it in Korean.
agenda is a precept ceremony, which will be at 3:30, which is in about 5 minutes.